Who is Cassandra Nova, and is she responsible for destroying entire timelines in Deadpool and Wolverine? Cassandra Nova is widely regarded as one of the most powerful X-Men villains to date, only arguably eclipsed by a select few such as perhaps Magneto, Mr. Sinister, and only a handful of others. But who exactly is Cassandra Nova, and why does she pose such a massive threat to Deadpool and Wolverine in the upcoming Deadpool film? Well, today, Heroes in Training, let's talk about the character of Cassandra Nova, her origins, and powers. To explain Cassandra Nova, we have to understand the Shi'ar concept known as the Mumum Dry, which essentially is the dark mirror of a living entity. These members of the astral plane are created to rival each individual person, and each living soul has to confront their Mumum Dry before they are allowed to be born on Earth. Due to the incredibly potent psychic nature of Professor Xavier though, his Mumum Dry reflected his unrivaled telepathic strength, and was eventually able to form a living host body on Earth separate from Professor Xavier. This doppelganger grew into something of an evil twin for Charles, and is on par with his telepathic abilities. She was able to copy his genetic code and embed it into her own genome. This means that not only does she possess the same powers as Xavier does, but also possesses any power that Professor X could theoretically achieve. Anything he has yet to develop or missed his chance to capitalize on belongs to Cassandra Nova, making her not only a direct rival to Professor X, but in many ways his superior. While Xavier is certainly a powerful telepath, Cassandra is as well, but without the same moral quandaries about using their powers on others. She routinely hijacks people's minds in order to puppeteer them, switches minds between bodies, and she finds it necessary and can induce complete mental paralysis without her conscience getting in the way of any of it, making her extremely dangerous. While Charles is certainly able to do many of these things, he is more of an altruistic character and holds back much more than Cassandra Nova ever does. After the release of the latest trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine, we believe that Cassandra Nova has the capacity to enslave or destroy entire timelines, leaving only a few pockets of apocalypse survivors who are mounting some sort of resistance. In the latest trailer, it is explained that Wolverine failed his home universe, and in some way let it get annihilated, and Cassandra Nova certainly fits this profile. We see several scenes that seem to take place in a barren wasteland devoid of anything more than a few enduring survivors. And if Wolverine has a vendetta against Cassandra Nova for what she did to his reality, then this could be what causes him to unite with Deadpool. But let's talk more about Cassandra Nova. She's not even limited to the DNA duplication abilities of just Professor X, but she can also manifest physical bodies from the Mumum Dry and other individuals by copying their genetic code, in essence creating dark mirrors of everyone she wants, including some of the most powerful X-Men. Once she has this DNA in her grasp, she can selectively drive its evolutionary path and decide how it develops throughout its lifespan. This means that she can access any sort of latent mutant abilities and force them to the surface, giving her creations a wide breadth of different powers and evolve them as long as their DNA supports this and can sustain it. What's also interesting to note about Cassandra is how well she is able to blend telepathy with telekinesis, and she can pair these abilities in such a way that almost allows her to create entirely new powers. For instance, Cassandra Nova is able to telepathically split her mind and then telekinetically redirect her consciousness elsewhere. This creates a sort of artificial astral projection, even though this particular form of astral projection isn't done through sorcery. She can alter the atoms in her body to phase through solid objects, recreate entire organs and limbs that have been damaged or severed, and can render herself completely invisible to detection by other mutants. Her mental attacks are only rivaled by her physical powers though, which include telekinetic offense that allows her to levitate and manipulate the environment around her, including Wolverine himself. She swipes his attacks away and embeds his claws into the ground, indicating that Wolverine and Deadpool might be fighting an enemy that they can't even touch. But what makes her truly dangerous is not her variety of psionic abilities, but her bloodlusted quest for revenge. When Cassandra Nova eventually resurfaced, she found herself in the region of Genosha and came into contact with the Master Mold, the blueprint for Bolivar Trask's Sentinel operation. She took control of this Master Mold, and with a legion of Sentinels, began a mutant genocide across Genosha. Across the battle, 16 million mutants were killed, making her one of the most destructive and detrimental villains in all of the X-Men's rogues gallery. Cassandra Nova's only mission is revenge against Charles Xavier, and her scorched earth policy could have resulted in the remainder of Wolverine's timeline being scourged into nothing. But there's something interesting about her psychology, specifically that she wants to destroy every illusion that Charles Xavier holds dear. This seems to show that she has either broken from reality or is on a higher plane of understanding wherein she believes people are nothing more than figments and are not valuable as individuals and humans. She specifically refers to life as an illusion, and this helps to separate her morality from the lives of insignificant people, and she regards humans as we might refer to video game characters. Yes, they are individuals with names, desires, and feelings, but they're not real to Cassandra Nova. If people are illusions to her, then she can never truly learn why Charles cares so deeply about them, only that he suffers when lives are lost. What this leaves us to wonder though, is whether or not Charles will play a role in the third entry in the Deadpool franchise. If Cassandra Nova's mission is vengeance against Charles, then what does she have to do with Deadpool and Wolverine if their stories aren't tied to Charles Xavier anymore? In the first trailer, it was believed that Paradox is offering Wade something in return for the capture or death of Cassandra Nova. And if this is the case, then she might not have any personal contempt for the pair, but they seek to destroy her for what she did to this reality. We also see a brewing storm in the distance of several shots, complete with arcs of purple lightning, which bear a striking resemblance to the multiversal devourer known as Eliath the Usurper. If someone has weaponized Eliath and is now back with a vengeance, then it might signal the end of this reality sooner than later. All these signs point to this universe dying, and if this is the case, then Professor X is already likely dead himself. As of now, we have not heard any compelling evidence that either Patrick Stewart or James McAvoy will be present for Deadpool 3, which leads us to believe that Professor X will not be present. If this is the case, and Charles really has died, then we might be seeing the end of this universe, and Deadpool's mission could be to pull Wolverine out of a dying timeline in order to better prepare for the war that is to come. Not only does it mean that Wolverine failed this reality and is seeking revenge, but he might be critical in rebuilding it later down the line. Recently, it was reported that each universe has a sort of cornerstone character, and if these characters are removed from the universe, then the entire reality unravels and eventually dies. But as of right now, this is simply a rumor and has not been confirmed. If this is the case though, then we believe these characters could be integral in rebuilding fallen universes if the TVA can get their hands on these heroes, and Wolverine could be one of the first on their list. Even if this universe dies, if Wolverine is the cornerstone of this reality, then he may be able to bring this timeline back after the events of Secret Wars, like saving a strand of DNA in order to regrow the entire timeline. They won't be able to save the entire reality, just enough to rebuild. This would allow him to be present in Secret Wars, and more importantly, be enraged that his entire reality has died. As of now, the best way to adapt Cassandra Nova without Professor X is to show that she has already defeated him, which would immediately raise the stakes and showcase exactly why she is so dangerous, even for the TVA. But anyway, my friends, what do you think of the character of Cassandra Nova as a villain? And are you excited to make her cinematic debut? And what do you believe that we can expect from the evil twin of Charles Xavier? What would you like to see her adapted into the mainline MCU? Or are you satisfied with seeing her as a multiversal rival for Deadpool and Wolverine? As always, my friends, thank you so much for visiting the channel today. Smash that subscribe button to assemble and join our team, and have a great one.